The Stage Door Show, celebrating the independent artist. With your host, Dave Hondel.
Hi everyone, welcome to a Zoom edition of the Stage Door Show tonight. This is Dave Hondel, and tonight I have two amazing artists with me. From Kansas City, Kansas, we have pop R&B singer, songwriter Deja Cain. Hey Deja, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. And from Los Angeles by way of Miami, Florida, please welcome Latin and pop singer-songwriter Siana. Hi, Siana.
Having us.
Absolutely. And Deja, I want to start with you. Deja, your sound has a real infused kind of vibe. You know, I hear pop and R&B, but I also catch some hip hop beats in there as well. So talk about your sound and what inspires that.
So this first EP I worked on, I actually was still like discovering like what I wanted to do and just kind of giving them like artists that I look up to and how I kind of want to incorporate that with my music. And so since I was still figuring out my sound, that's why we did so many different genres. You know, I wanted to do R&B, and I love like the pop EDM music. So I was like, hey, you know, like turn the music up. Yeah. Turn the music up. Champagne bar, keep the bounce popping. Whole club lit, keep the party rocking. Louis best finger in your head bopping. We party all night, baby, ain't no stopping. Flow so sick, I'ma get you right. Move so quick, it'll ease your mind. Ain't no thing, we can go all night. So turn the music up loud for me. Yeah, yeah. Throw it back and drop it down. Throw me, yeah, yeah. Good girl, but tonight I'm back. Yeah. Like, let's throw that in there. And then, I think I just still was kind of figuring out what I really wanted to do. And I'm at a point right now where I can still kind of like hop around a little bit. So that's kind of what me and the people I was working with wanted to do, to where it all was still different, but not too different. It was like, whoa, what are you doing type thing.
Yeah, I mean, do you find that, you know, with different genres, you know, I've talked to a few artists that have different genres, and you can really cross over to a new audience if you know, have the right song. So, you know, is that kind of come into the conversation when you're writing the music, that you could cross over to a different audience?
Yeah, that was the biggest thing, just because you know, also Kansas City, Missouri is really big on the rap, and I'm more of like a singer. I can rap, I can't freestyle, but I prominently sing, so I definitely was trying to reach places that weren't by me, since I'm in the Midwest. So that was also definitely a goal, was to like get a vibe of what each area was feeling at the time.
And then, you know, talk about being in Kansas City, because, you know, the Midwest like that, I mean, do you find that you can put your footprint there as opposed to, you know, somewhere like New York or LA or Miami, where, I mean, the music scene is so big, it's saturated. And so you're in a Midwest environment. Do you find that that's, it kind of leads to yourself to, I mean, to a more, I mean, not a smaller audience per se, but, you know, that you have maybe fewer artists that you can put your footprint in the Midwest?
Yeah, I do think, not that I'm like crazy known, but I definitely go places and they'll be like, hey, like you're a singer, like, hey, you're Deja, because I change my hair a lot, so people kind of like, you know, don't recognize me. But I think that's why I am trying to branch out. And like I said, like I plan on moving to California in May, just because it's such, I mean, I love it there anyway, regardless if I didn't do music. But it was so easy for me to like network and meet new people and learn and kind of get more growth into my music. So I'm sure I could reach further out here, but I definitely feel like around my area, I have reached the people that are interested in my type of music, that it's time for me to kind of like spread out of here.
Yeah, and then speaking of California, you know, Siana, being out in Los Angeles. You also have a great blend of many genres that lead to your amazing sound. But reggaeton, pop, and I even hear some dance vibes in your music. So talk about your sound and your inspiration and how that sells over in Los Angeles.
So, funny thing, when I first moved out here, I did not move out here for music at all. I was not pursuing music in any way. I've been writing songs, like I said, since I was very young, but I came out here to actually work in production, like editing. I work for like digital media. And being in this like environment, I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should like, write my songs. I was a little heartbroken. I was like, I'm gonna write a song. And it actually started in English. I had never written a Spanish song ever. But a friend of mine reached out to me and he was starting to produce. Like he was back in Miami though, not in LA.
Sure.
And we were working on a song and it was in English. And I was on his Instagram stories and he had like a random like 10-second beat that he'd never finished. It was and it was a Spanish, like very Latin. So I was like, hey, you have this beat, can you send it to me? And he was like, I haven't even finished it. But he ended up sending it to me and I wrote this Spanish song out of nowhere. And that's kind of how I started writing Spanish at all. Like I am Latina, but I had never really like deep dived into my Spanish music until I wrote one song myself. And from there, it kind of like a domino effect. I just kept writing in Spanish, and now it's like my favorite music to write because it's just like almost like my alter ego. It's like fierce.
Well, I mean, Spanish music, my wife is Honduran, so we listen to a lot of Spanish music in my house, but it's very passionate. And so when you write the songs, I mean, they just seem to be very, very passionate words and much more so, I think, than the English language. So does that kind of go into your songwriting as well? And also, I want you to talk about being so young. Like, how old were you when you started writing? Because this fascinated me when I read your bio. So tell everybody how old you were when you started writing.
So I wrote my first song when I was 7 years old, and it actually happened. I was visiting Nicaragua. My mom's Nicaraguan, so we were visiting for the holidays, and I had a cousin who she was older than me, but she liked to sing. And 7-year-old me was like, "Oh my gosh, she's so cool! She's singing!" And she gave me this little notebook. My mom still has it back in Miami. And she goes, why don't you try writing yourself? You can be an artist too. You just, write yourself. And I was like, okay. So I ended up writing, it was a bilingual song actually. So I guess Contigo wasn't my first Spanish song. But I wrote a song about riding horses because I was in Nicaragua. So I was like, I'm gonna write some horses and wearing lip gloss. So that was my first song. I was telling people they gotta respect me because I know how to ride a horse.
That's awesome. We're going to talk about Contigo in a little bit because I want you to talk about that as well. But Deja, reading your bio too, you have a lot of different musical likes from Etta James to Demi Lovato to even musical theater. It's such a wide range. Does this variety kind of help you so you're not getting cornered into a certain genre of music, and does that help you kind of keep your mind open to different avenues?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when I was younger, I loved singing like all the time. You would just catch me singing, and going to my grandparents' house and like listening to their old school music and like Chuck Willis, and then I know I listened to a lot of Hannah Montana and Cheater Girls, like, oh my gosh. So I definitely was all over the place. I love musicals. Me and my mom watched Mamma Mia, Hairspray, Grease was her favorite musical. So I guess I was kind of just all over the place. Like I was like, yeah, I like this. Oh, I like this. And then, just listening to artists that like aren't that known to like I love Ariana Grande. Everyone loves Ariana Grande, but I just love her. So like, she's a big inspiration. Kiana Lede, like, yeah. So it kind of helps me like kind of catch a vibe of a song, or sometimes like if they release something new, like, I like the style or something, it kind of just helps spark something in my mind. And I'm like, ooh, I'll be in my car, I'll think of a lyric and I'll go in there and I'll like, put the flow down. And it definitely, yeah, just helps me piece together like different ideas and concepts I want, or a group of songs that fit in this category, and then I have a group of songs that are in this, so I'm still not so all over the place. But I did definitely grow up listening to a lot of different things, so
Yeah, I mean, and talk about the musical theater influence, because you actually did theater and you acted in some musicals. So did you find that to be helpful in your stage presence and getting in front of the audience and being confident?
yeah. So I actually I did theater in middle school, and I like never got a speaking role. Like I was just the role that was in the background, and I was always like scared to really like act. um So, and I did like, out here we have like Olathe's Got Talent, I did like American Idol and just those different things. And, I used to go to church camp, they'd have like this American Idol thing, and it took me like 2 years to even get picked. And it wasn't until my freshman year of high school they were doing Hairspray. And I also played sports. I played basketball for like 8 years. So I had to choose, basketball was the same time as the musical. So it was either you do theater or you play sports. So I did the musical, and I was like the only freshman that made it, and I got a call back for all the lead roles. But also with me being a freshman too, I obviously, so I got like a supporting lead, and I loved it. Like I wanted to be in it so bad. I was like, he's gonna pick me. Like I was belting. I learned the dance in 5 minutes because I had difficulty with the school and going to the doctor for my asthma and stuff for cheerleading. Long story. Anyway, I came back, and yeah, there was 5 minutes to learn the dance. So I learned it in 5 minutes. There was 2 groups before me before auditions ended, and I did it, and I got the show, and I was like, yeah, this is like what I want to do forever. Like I love being on stage and singing and acting. It's just so much fun. Like, acting, you're a whole different person. So it didn't really scare me because I'm like, okay, people aren't looking at Deja, they're looking at my character.
Right.
So yeah, it definitely did spark something in me. I was like forever grateful for Mr. Hastings out of like the South for giving me a chance and being like, yeah, this girl is like, she got something. So it definitely helped me gain confidence.
Yes, that's great. And Siana, we talked about Contigo a little bit earlier, and there's been a lot of praise and a lot of people that took notice to that song. So tell me about that song a little more, like the writing of it, and getting into that. Where did that song come about? And talk about the some of the stuff that it's been seen on, or heard on, I should say.
So the song came about from, actually, it was the first time I had been single in like 5 years, and I was starting to date around. Like it was like my first time, meeting, like going on dates and really like experiencing like dating life, especially in another state. I was like away from home, and I wrote this song about like I was starting to like someone, but I didn't want anything serious with them. It was just like, it's okay for us to like be together, but not have to like lead anywhere else than that, because I wasn't ready for that. So I ended up writing that about all these about my dating life. Honestly, when I released it, I had so much anxiety. Like the day it went up, I was like, oh my god, like I'm so nervous, like nobody's gonna listen to it, like why am I doing this? I also did musical theater and choir growing up, and I was never like picked for like to be in the front, so I just thought I wasn't good. So I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but whatever, it's happening. Um, and it ended up like people loving it. And this it's like this YouTube channel called Dance On. They
Hmm.
work with they work with like Dancing with the Stars or something like that. But it's owned by Madonna.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and so they had a YouTube channel, and was sending my song to like different dancers, and I sent it to Dance On, not knowing, went over my head. I did not know who they were, and they were the ones that actually responded, and they were like, "Oh my God, we love it! Can we do a dance to it? We'll connect it to our choreographers." And I was
Wow,
like,
that's incredible.
"Yeah." um, they were like the first ones to like. It was like a really you can look it up. It's like a really cool video. I That was like a dream of mine, somebody to dance to a song that I made. Like that was like would have never thought that would have happened, and it happened with my first one.
Well,
And
you never know. I mean, to me, that's amazing. You know, that's a great story for indie artists out there that are maybe just getting going, and you know, I think sometimes things hold people back for whatever reason. You know, people don't pursue their dream because they thought, you know, I'm just one of millions of people who have the same dream. I'm never going to make it, right? So unless you put yourself out there, you're never going to know. So, you know, the fact that you had like a first song, and I don't know if you guys ever heard this song. You guys are kind of young, but you may have heard this. Play That Funky Music, White Boy. You heard a song that played at all the weddings. They played whatever. Well, we just interviewed the guitar player that played that lick at the beginning of Wild Cherry, the group Wild Cherry. But he told me that they just formed the group, and like a month later they were performing, and they recorded that, and it became a hit. So they were only together for like a short time before they became a hit. So you just never know. And then he had a great career with Molly Hatchet and Foghat and the others. But you know, so again, I think it's a great inspiration. You guys are both great inspiration for our indie artists out there. People that think, you know, well, I'm just one of whatever, but you guys are doing it. You're actually, and that's kudos to both of you for doing that, because it's I think a lot of people are held back, and I always try to wonder how many talented people, how many Whitney Houstons are out there that never, like, you know, realized their dream, never went out there. So I'm glad that, you know, you guys are both doing that. Speaking of you both, Siana, how did you collaborate with Deja on your new single Veneno, which we're going to show here tonight? But talk about that collaboration and how did that happen?
well, I have to give this one to Deja because
Okay.
she was the one that reached out first. I
Yep.
don't
Let's hear about
I
it.
don't
Man, I think we had like a mutual. There was a time where, well, okay, so I've been trying to learn Spanish. Like, I'm really not the best at it. I don't know why it's so hard for me to learn, but I was just going through like artists and hashtags on Instagram, and I was like, man, you know what? I just want to like find some dope artists that like aren't from here, you know? So I followed her and I listened to her stuff, and I'm like, this is so good. And I was like, hey, you know, I messaged her and I'm like, hey, like, I'm from Kansas City. Like, I love your music. I really have wanted to do like a crossover song with English and Spanish. Would you be down to like collaborate sometime? And she's like, oh yeah, this was all the way back in January. So
Wow.
I was like, okay, great. So I told her, I was like, my videographer, he shoots with me everywhere. Like, he will travel with me everywhere. And I love going to California, obviously. So I was like, hey, you know what? When we do this song, like, I'm going to go out to Cali. This was in, like, I think we planned for March or April. And I'm like, my videographer can shoot the video. It's going to be great. And, you know, we just made sure, like, she had studio access. I had studio access. And we were sending it back and forth, and we had a FaceTime call. And I was so nervous because I wrote my verse, you know, like, it's in English. I'm confident. And she's like, okay, like, I'm going to teach you the Spanish part. And I was like, okay, veneno, veneno. She's like, yeah. Like, okay, maybe not so much with the art. I was like, entero. Like,
There you go.
so scared, but yeah, we ended up doing it, and we sent it back and forth. And then when I went out there to shoot the video in October, we touched up a few things, but the COVID definitely delayed us, because right when I was planning to go out there is when they shut everything down.
Yeah.
So we're like, man, you know what? It's cool. It just gives us more time, and you know, we ended up just waiting longer, and I think it worked out. Unfortunately, my videographer for this one, with all the hurricanes and stuff, he works for like a power company. And so he had to go out there and help them with that. So then, yeah, I think, what was it, like 2 weeks before I was supposed to come out there, he notified us that he couldn't make it. And I was like, I told you I always had bad luck with my videos. Like, what are we going to do? And then I was freaking out, like, oh my God. And she's like, it's okay, don't worry about it. So
my friend was able.
Yeah. So that's kind of how Instagram, it started from Instagram. I just was looking up some dope people and then I found her.
The power of Instagram. So, Siana, talk about the song itself and what's the feeling of the song?
The song is supposed to make you feel like a bad bee. That's kind of like it was inspired, honestly, because like when Deja and I started talking, I was like, okay, what's a song or like what vibe do we match? Because we kind of have different styles of music. So I was like, we're in the middle, and I was like, I feel like both of us, in a way, like we're promoting, like, you know, self-confidence and like going for it. So I was like, okay, well, this is like, we'll make this one like a power song, like we're bad boys, you know, like don't mess with us.
That's
so
good. That's good.
That's what inspired the song. And I think it worked out. Like when she came over to shoot the video, like me and her clicked like if we knew each other like years and years. Like it felt like not the first time meeting. And I think the song really helped us just like connect, and it's been a good experience for sure, meeting her and getting to do this with her.
It's so funny, she sent it over to me and I was like, what are you saying? She's like, basically like just write about like being a bad bee, like, you know, you got girl. And I was like, okay.
I'm in.
All right, I was like, okay, all right.
Dicen que tenga cuidado cuando te tengo a mi lado. Dicen que soy un peligro y siempre caigo en lo malo. Que soy un veneno, veneno, veneno. Entro tu cuerpo y lo infecto entero. Soy un veneno, veneno, veneno. Infecto tu cuerpo, cuerpo. Soy un veneno, veneno, veneno. Entro tu cuerpo y lo infecto entero. Soy un veneno, veneno, veneno. Infecto tu cuerpo, cuerpo. Baby, you know that I'm venom. Be careful, you know I might kill ya. I don't like that messing around, cause if you play with me, then I gotta tear you down. Don't take no offense to this. Only happens when you mess with the bad, bad bitch. I promise I won't bite unless you piss me off, then I might strike. Dicen que tenga cuidado cuando te tengo a mi lado. Dicen que soy un peligro y siempre caigo en lo malo. Que soy un veneno, veneno, veneno. Entro tu cuerpo y lo infecto entero. Soy un veneno, veneno, veneno. Infecto tu cuerpo, cuerpo. Veneno, veneno, veneno. Entro tu cuerpo y lo infecto entero. Soy un veneno, veneno, veneno. Infecto tu cuerpo, cuerpo. Muevo mi cuerpo, siempre predomina. Él se confía, pues no me domina. Con una mirada no resiste nada. Yeah, I know what he likes, so let's go with the ride. I'm making my night, I'm making my night. Dicen que tenga cuidado cuando te tengo a mi lado. Dicen que soy un peligro y siempre caigo en lo malo. Que soy un veneno, veneno, veneno. Entro tu cuerpo y lo infecto entero. Soy un veneno, veneno, veneno. Infecto tu cuerpo, cuerpo. Veneno, veneno, veneno. Entro tu cuerpo y lo infecto entero. Soy un veneno, veneno, veneno. Infecto tu cuerpo, cuerpo.
You know, the other thing I wanted to talk to you both about, because you mentioned Instagram and the power of social media, and on my show we always talk about the business of music. So, you know, talk about social media, because I know you guys are younger, but like when I was doing music videos, there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook, there was nothing like that. So everything had to go through TV outlets, you know, like MTV, VH1, BET. Otherwise, nobody saw your music videos. So now that YouTube and Instagram and all the others that show videos, you know, are out there, you know, there's so many people that are doing music, obviously, and putting their videos out. So how do you guys kind of set yourselves apart from the others, and what do you do differently, I guess, to kind of gain your audience? So Deja, let's start with you.
Um, I think kind of like what you're talking about with my videos, I try to have such like dope quality videos because anyone can like say, yeah, I'm gonna shoot a music video and it's on an iPhone and you know like it's just them like blasting guns and stuff, you know. So
Yeah.
I wanted it to be something very different and like eye-catching. It definitely is hard because you know I think when you go to Instagram and Facebook and YouTube with social media now, you really can see like how many people are striving to do the same thing, and you're sitting here like, oh my god, or like, oh, they did that, and like this person wants to sing too, you know what I mean? Like you just start to fill your head like, oh my god, there's so many people, like am I gonna get chosen, will this ever be seen? But you kind of just have to keep, you know, pushing forward and things kind of fall into place. And I don't know about Siana, but I know for me, especially being a woman, like it is very true with sex sells. And you know, I think the most revealing thing I did was probably the bathtub scene in Throwback. And, you know, I still had like a bandeau and everything on, but it's still, to me, I was like, ooh, like I'm being very sexy right now. So I'm still trying to like, you know, I like being a little flirty and stuff, but I want like kids and other people to know that like you don't have to be half naked in your videos and, you know, showing your butt on your picture and stuff to gain the audience. It may take slower time, especially for me. It takes a little more time to build followers up because, you know, if I do a show, just like I did the live performance for the Appleberry apparel launch party, I had like the dancers and everything. It wasn't me up there like, ooh, like, you know, just feeling on myself. So it definitely is hard for me because, you know, with Instagram, you see all that and everyone, you know, you're post those kind of things. So I think that's my biggest thing with the social media and trying to be different is still like putting enough in there, but not too much to where I'm just doing it so people will notice me. I
Yeah.
don't know if that really answers your question, but
No, that it is. That's definitely well said. And Siana, how about you? I mean, what are your thoughts on the social media thing and setting yourself apart and doing, I guess, marketing yourself in a different way so people take notice to you?
So my background actually comes from my background is advertising. So I came in kind of having like a good idea of like how to work social media, like how to use it to my advantage. And when I started working, I worked for Viacom's digital media channels, Awesomeness TV, and I was working with a Latin audience. We'll still work with them, but I was when I started working with them, I was like, okay, well, with my music, I can reach these kids. It's a younger audience, but you know, Gen Z is that's where you want your fans to be. You want them to be Gen Z because they're the ones on the phones all day long, streaming your music and TikToking. At the time, there wasn't TikTok, but you know, now they are. And so for me, I was like, okay, well, I want to collaborate. That's like how I will connect with people, the more collaborations I do. So I did a lot of like, okay, I'll edit this for you, I'll graphic design this for you, and then just use my music in your video, or use my like throw it in there. So that's kind of how I've been using social media. It is still hard because I feel like I've been on a lot of channels, like I've been on a lot of channels with millions of followers and whatever, and yeah, I gained like a few, but it's so, like you said, it's very saturated. Like the internet is just so, it's full of singers, full of influencers, full of youth, it's full of everything.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to get noticed. So a big thing I try to do, you know, just do everything in-house. I'm lucky that I've learned like, you know, how to edit, how to design, how to do all this stuff and be able to do it myself. And I try to like promote, you know, like being independent and, you know, going for it, even if you don't have, you know, the funds to, you know, do fancy things, or the funds to like, you know, make a song at a studio. You know, you can do it at your house. You can do it there. And I think that's how I've connected with my audience. Just like everything just being very like thrifty, very at home. Like,
Grassroots, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah. So
yeah. No, I think Siana, that's well said as well. You guys both kind of nailed it on the head. And the other thing I suppose that could set you apart is a message that you want to give to your fans, because you're not going to connect with everybody out there, obviously, but what message do you want to give to your fans through your music? I mean, how do you want to, 30 years down the road, 40 years down the road, what do you want your legacy to be, and what message did you want to bring across to your fans more than anything? Siana, let's start with you.
For me, I want, when people listen to my music, I want them to feel good and feel confident in themselves. I, for a really long time, just didn't believe in like my capacity to be better, being able to pursue my dreams. I almost didn't even do music. And now that I am finally, just doing it scared, like I feel like the happiest I've ever been, and it's like so worth it. And I just think like, whatever your situation is, like you can do it. There's always a way. If you really want something, there's always a way. Always. That's just how I see it. There's always a way. So, I mean, some people record stuff on their phones and make a hit and it goes viral. And now they're famous and now they have the money to do things the right way. So don't give up. Go for it. That will be what I hope my legacy is, just, pushing people, making them more confident.
That's a great message, and thank you for that. And Deja, how about yourself? What is your message that you want to give to your fans? Again, 40 years down the road, when you've had several hits and decades into your career, I mean, what do you want your legacy to be?
I really want to just bring back lyrical songs that have like real meanings. I mean, it's not bad with like the party music and everything. Like with Deja Vu, I did that because I wanted that to be like, little party songs and she's doing this. But with the music that I have coming out now, like I have so many songs, like I want them to feel the emotions in the stories. And I'm like crying. Like, a lot of people listen, like if you want to listen to an artist or a mood, you like change the artist. And I want people to hear my music and be like, oh, she had a time where she went through this, so like I'm relating to, like, let me scroll through that. I want to bring back more powerful like singing, like deep singing. So that's really my goal, which it's hard because upbeat music people love to listen to and I love making, but I also want to put in them serious moments where people are like, wow, like there's something I listen to that like is helping me through this, and just to know like I've been everywhere and I feel the same thing as them. And it's just nice to know like everyone's not perfect. You all have your different things, and there's a lot of things that artists release in songs that people don't know about or family doesn't even know about for years, and then they release that song and let it go and they're like, man. So I guess that's really my goal, is I really want to bring back like that heartfelt, good old belting singing. Which is ironic because like you said, my stuff is very pop, hip hop infused, but now that I know kind of the direction I want to go in and incorporate it in there, that's my goal. It's my biggest goal.
Well, you guys are both a refreshing change to what many artists are. I think it's nice to talk to people that are grounded like you guys, and I think that's one of the reasons I started this podcast and this platform, was to try to, from my years in the music business, try to I guess, even though I was doing music videos, I think the fact that, artists are grounded sometimes, but sometimes they're not. And I kind of saw both ends in the music business, but the fact that you guys are grounded and, in your, your music is amazing and it speaks to itself, but just the fact that you guys are professional and you guys are, treating this the right way. I think you guys are going to have long careers, and I can't wait to see where they go, and also whatever I can do on my show to push anything that you guys have. I'm more than happy to do so. Thank you both for being on my show tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you both have a good night. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Yeah, thank you. You too.